Welcome back one last time for video 12 of 12 of our Turning the Page, a self-guided Recovery Dharma Book Study course. Congrats if you've gone through all 12 videos, and also if you randomly have stumbled upon this video out of the 12 of 12, welcome for the first time for the end of our workshop. That's right. Welcome. All are welcome. For those of you who've gone through all 11 of the other videos, you know this spiel pretty well at this point, that we're going through the Recovery Dharma workbook together. That's right. And actually, after this video, we'll have gone through the Recovery Dharma workbook together. So congrats. Yeah. For those who are stumbling upon this video randomly because the word recovery is possible is in the title. Recovery Dharma is a Buddhist-inspired approach to recovery from addictions of all kinds. So whether you're struggling with addiction to alcohol, to drugs, to process addictions, or harmful behaviors, this video finishes up a series of videos on the Recovery Dharma workbook and program. If you don't have a copy of the book, get a copy of the book. And also for newcomers, there's a free PDF download available in the description below. For those of you who've been here from the start, congratulations. Let's talk about our favorite topic to talk about in Recovery Dharma. Recovery is possible. Recovery is possible. Hells yeah. So this is a feel-good video. It's a feel-good video. It's a feel-good chapter. It's the last section of the Recovery Dharma workbook. If you've been here from the start, you know the drill. The format of these videos is I cover the main theme of any given section that we go over. I share what I highlighted, any given section of the book. You compare notes yourself. And ultimately, I share some personal experiences from my background, from 4+ years of working Recovery Dharma, 15+ lived years of recovery communities of all type, of saying, hey, these are things that stick out to other people. And if you and I were just a pair of wise friends sitting down over coffee, tea, and or food, I don't know. I don't know what you're into. This is what we would talk about. This is how we would go through the book together. And if you've gotten through this video of the 12-week course, congratulations. I'm super proud of you. Leave a comment in the comment below. Shoot me an email. Find my contact information. Go to wisefriendsnetwork.com and shoot me an email and let me know that you went through all 12 videos because it would make me so happy, and positive karma there. That said, let's get into the book. Recovery is possible. It's the last section. And on page 54, it starts off with a bang. In the pages of this book is a path, a set of principles and practices that can lead to the end of our suffering and see us through the damage we have piled onto ourselves through our addictions. The path is based on gaining and maintaining mindfulness. That's right, mindfulness. Mindfulness of our feelings, bodies, minds, and experiences. During our journey, we come to accept that we're responsible. We're responsible for our own actions, that every choice has a consequence, cause and effect. If we act unskillfully or mindlessly, we will experience pain in our feelings, thoughts, and experiences, karma. We may cause harm to others. We begin to recognize that every thought, feeling, and experience is only temporary, impermanence, and also the four foundations of mindfulness there, that it will pass if we allow it to. Trusting this can provide a safe harbor, a refuge, in moments of craving or pain. We start to believe. We believe that even the most difficult, traumatic, and painful actions and events of our past don't define who we are today, nor do they define the possibilities of our futures. It's our choices and actions now that define us. Hell yeah. Recovery is possible. Change is possible. Boost recovery, if you give it a chance and if you give it your all, will change your life for the better. The Recovery is Possible chapter is just a feel-good chapter that summarizes the Recovery Dharma program as a whole. It walks you through from beginning to end, from the Four Noble Truths to Eightfold Path. It talks about, with clear understanding, we begin to choose more appropriate actions and responses to our experiences. And it is in this choice that we find freedom and relief from suffering. I love Recovery is Possible as a chapter. On a personal note, major theme number one, summary of the Recovery Dharma book. I mean, that's essentially what this section is. It's a summary of the Recovery Dharma book, and it just kind of closes the loop and it puts a bow tie, puts a ribbon on it. Yeah, it's a ribbon. It's the last chapter of the book, man. Um, so as I close out this book, it's a message of hope. It's a message of inspiration, and on a personal anecdotal perspective, sometimes in the in-person meetings, I get asked like, "Hey, if I'm only going to read one thing every day for the next 30, 60, 90 days, James, what would you recommend as far as a inspirational thing out of the book?" I always recommend Recovery as Possible. I like, for most people at least, that or wise mindfulness, depending on if they need to understand the practice. Other times I have people read the practice for 90 days in a row. Um, Different people, different circumstances. That's really where you have to feel out where the person's at in their recovery and what they're looking for to get out of Buddhist recovery. So, Recovery is Possible, Wise Mindfulness, and the practice are all wonderful things to read on a very regular basis. Um, the thing I do want to point out is the second paragraph that I want to highlight. Hopefully, a shorter video. We'll find out in a minute if I keep my word on that. Page 56. There is no magic bullet, no single action or practice that will end suffering. This is a path composed of a set of principles that help us deal with suffering and respond wisely to our own lives. We cannot escape or avoid dukkha. Dukkha is discomfort or unsatisfactoriness. But we can begin to be more mindful at peace, knowing there is a path forward, a path with less suffering, less craving, less aversion, less destruction, and less shame. It's a path without an end, and it requires effort and awareness, and we don't have to do it alone. Hell yeah. We don't have to do it alone. Like, as we've gone through this book, as we've gone through this practice, as we've gone through this series of videos, you haven't had to do this alone. You're not alone. You have friends out there, friends you haven't even met yet. But at the same time, I love as we get to the closing paragraphs of this book, it openly acknowledges there's no magic bullet, no one single action or practice that will end suffering. So often people come into the rooms of recovery and be like, they just want the quick fix. They want the quick answer. And there's no quick fix to recovery. There is no quick life hack. This is heavy work. This is hard work. This is, why it's so important to come together in community, to, read books like this, to do meditation, to cultivate heart practices, to work with one another, to do the inquiry work. Because ultimately, for the majority of us, the surface level addictions are just an exacerbation of the underlying causes and conditions. It's just an expression of our pain and our suffering. And I think that's one of the reasons why Buddhist recovery strikes home so well with so many people is that at the end of the practice, as you go on this journey, wherever you're at on your journey, is that the whole hope and aspiration of developing the practice and developing your own personal practice is that it should be a radical inner transformation of self. You should not be the same person in 5 years from now as you are today if you take a Buddhist recovery approach seriously. It is a radical inner transformation of self. If I could go back to the James of 10 years ago and just have a conversation with that kid and be like, hey, man, like, you really need to give these Buddhist practices and principles a try. And just the amount of happiness and joy that I have today, the sense of ease, I don't know, like, I just can't say enough good things as far as that goes. But I do appreciate as we wrap up the book that it says there is no magic bullet, there is no one solution. And I think that's important for newcomers to hear and people who are new to Buddhist recovery, that there's no spiritual bypass. When we come to a Buddhist practice, when we come to Recovery Dharma, I mean, there's a lot of heavy lifting that's going to need to be done. Ultimately, we will end the book and the workshop on a section that we end all of our meetings on in the Indianapolis, Indiana area. I thank you so much for having gone through these videos. The fact that if you have gone through all 12, I want to share this practice. This is me sharing my practice with you, and this is the Indianapolis, Indiana Sangha sharing its practice with you as I read. Recovery. Recovery is the lifelong process of recovering our true nature and finding a way to an enduring and non harmful sense of happiness. In recovery, we can finally find the peace so many of us have been searching for in our addictions. We can break through our isolation and find a community of wise friends to support us on our path. We can build a home for ourselves, within ourselves, and we can help others to do the same. The gift we give ourselves to one another and to the world is one of courage, understanding, compassion, and serenity. We all experience growth differently at our own pace. But the most important message of this book is that the journey and the healing can start now for you and for each of us. May you find your path to recovery. May you trust in your own potential for awakening. Yeah. May you find your own path to recovery. May you find your own uh, potential for awakening. This stuff saves lives. It saved my life. Um, I look forward to hearing from anybody who's interested in reaching out. I hope you got something out of the Turning the Page workshop. Um, Please be kind in the comments. This series of videos took quite a bit out of me. I've been unhealthy during a series of some of them, and I just want to say an expression of love to anybody who's out there that if you're struggling with addiction, very sincerely, know that none of us lack the ability, only the willingness to make this stuff work. And you got a lot of people out there rooting for you. We love you. We care about you. And yeah, keep on trucking. I don't know. I'm bad at editing videos. I've been bad at ending all the videos in this series, so we're gonna keep doing that as a tradition. So, metta loving kindness, find your path, and I'll just see you in the next video. Yeah, see you in the next video.